Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 o'clock, legal battles are dragging out the recovery process for Marshall Fire victims.
I long to go home. Every time we drive up and down the area, it's just, I want to be there. I want to live there. I want to be home.
So we are looking at the next steps for a lawsuit against Boulder County as Congressman Joe Neguse prepares to tour the fire damage today.
Aurora's camping ban is up for a vote again, but the issue surrounding homelessness in the city is expected to spark more debate tonight.
Also, free agency kicks off today in the NFL as the Broncos look to build around their new quarterback, Russell Wilson. Denver 7 Broncos insider Troy Rank breaks down the holes the team still needs to fill. And Russell Wilson could be introduced on Wednesday when the contract becomes official. A lot of high expectations for the team now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Micah Smith. The sunshine and warm temperatures we saw over the weekend are sticking around. Katie LaSalle is here with a look at your forecast. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Micah, Brian, everyone at home. We're waking up to partly to mostly cloudy skies here across the Denver area and eastern plains. We picked up some light to moderate snowfall into portions of Colorado's high country yesterday, but it's going to be a sunny afternoon and daytime highs will be back to the 50s. Temperatures outside currently were in the 30s and even low 40s across portions of the metro area. The main weather headline for today, gusty winds, especially over the eastern plains. Last recorded wind gusts near Lyman at 38 miles per hour. It's a fast moving front, a weak one for our state, but it is still impacting southern Colorado this morning. Your hourly planner by noon will be at 48 degrees in Denver. Daytime highs reaching the low 50s, so not as warm as Saturday and Sunday, but still right around average for this time in March. As you can see, as 3 o'clock rolls around, we'll be in our mostly sunny sky. Warmer and dry for tomorrow, and then our next front will bring widespread moisture back to the state. Colette, looks like on Wednesday.
You know, I really can't be mad at that Monday forecast. It honestly looks pretty nice. And your drive times around the metro looking pretty good, but I want to get you to the slowdown here on northbound East 470, taking around 30 minutes of your drive time. If you are headed out spring break, Monday of spring break, that's your drive time to the airport there. Security at the airport running around 15 minutes, it says. It says the quickest security is the north security, but I love that bridge security. That's just me, though. Here's another look around town, and take a look here at this camera at the intersection of 270 and 70, or that interchange. You can see traffic just moving nicely this morning. It's really not a bad day to be on the roads. And here's a look at some other drive times around the metro for you. If you're headed to Boulder, they're on 36. Not bad at all. South of town looking good as well.
Kudos if you're up this early. There will be several significant developments in the Marshall Fire recovery process this week. Families who had to leave their homes are still waiting for the main cleanup efforts to begin.
There have been a number of challenges, some of them even involving the courts, but there's hope that help is right around the corner. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live from Superior. And Veronica, Congressman Joe Neguse is set to tour the fire zone today.
And Congressman Neguse will get what every other family who lost a home in the Marshall fire has gotten, a ground view of what's left. We're talking about those garage frames that are now left, the charred mailboxes, and of course even some of those burnt cars in the driveway. So Congressman Neguse, he will be walking up and down neighborhoods in Superior like the one that's right here behind me, not only taking a look at the damage here, but also speaking directly with families who were impacted. Of course, this isn't the first time that the congressman has stepped in to help. Earlier this month, he was able to get FEMA to agree to cover the costs of removing foundations, those basements, and those burnt vehicles in the Marshall fire. Nearly a month ago, he also spoke about solutions he's looking into for families who are underinsured. Now, one of the toughest parts of all this has been getting debris removed. Families have been waiting for weeks now. In February, Boulder County commissioners awarded the cleanup to a Louisiana-based company. That was out of 11 different proposals. The company said it was capable of starting that cleanup by March 1st, have it done by July 1st, as long as there were no weather delays. But of course, we're 14 days into the month and that still hasn't happened. Now, that's because two companies competing, they weren't awarded for the bid, so they ended up filing 2 lawsuits, holding up the entire process. At the end of this week on Friday, there's another hearing scheduled to continue discussing the debris removal as well as the lawsuit, and we'll keep you updated on what comes of that. We're live in Superior this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Our thoughts are certainly with those families who are just ready to move forward. Tonight, Aurora could approve a camping ban that allows police to clear a camp with 3 days notice. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live with a proposal that's divided the community. Christian.
Yeah, Micah, it's very controversial. Some people say that it's inhumane and that it criminalizes the homeless, while others think that it'll motivate them to seek shelter off of the streets. Now, back on March 1st during the council meeting when this got the vote to move forward, things got heated and that discussion lasted for about 4 hours. And what this ordinance would do is it would allow police to remove homeless encampments after city officials give them 72 hours notice to move. And if people don't comply, they could face citations, even arrests. But the city would have to make sure that there's enough shelter space available before requiring them to move. And it was exactly a year ago that Mayor Kaufman introduced this ban, and it actually failed back in August, but now it's back on the table. And Aurora would join several other Colorado cities who have enacted a similar ban, like Denver, Boulder, and Fort Collins. And the latest numbers show that there are around 594 people experiencing homelessness in Aurora, and that number is actually expected to be an undercount. And tonight at that meeting, that ban could receive final approval. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
A bill to guarantee abortion access in Colorado will go to the House for a third reading today. Over the weekend, the House debated the Reproductive Health Equity Act for 23 hours. If it passes, the bill heads to the Senate. For some context, this bill guarantees a person's right to use or not use contraception. It affirms abortions are legal in the state, and it prohibits state and local entities from denying, interfering with, or discriminating against someone who has had an abortion.
Leaders from Ukraine and Russia will meet for another round of peace talks today. Russia is still demanding Ukraine change its constitution to commit to not joining NATO or the European Union. Meanwhile, members of the Biden administration will meet with officials from China in Italy today. It's over reports Russia asked China for military and economic assistance for its invasion. The White House National Security Advisor says there will be consequences if China helps Russia minimize losses from the global sanctions. The Russian military, meanwhile, is expanding its targets, hitting a military facility just 10 miles from Poland. That's the closest attack to a NATO country's border. 35 people were killed and more than 100 hurt. A Coloradan with a family in Ukraine returned from the war-torn country last week after rescuing 5 of his family members. Michael Winar met his family on the border of Slovakia and Ukraine. Everyone except his brother-in-law was able to cross. His brother-in-law is 36 years old, and Ukraine prohibits any men 18 to 60 from leaving right now. Michael's relatives are now refugees in Slovakia, but he says Ukraine needs more support.
I think America can do more, and I think America has to do more because they see, tens of thousands of people getting murdered needlessly.
Says his family will stay in Slovakia until the war ends. If the situation escalates even more, he'll try to move them to the United States.
Your time is now 5:08. How are you feeling after the time change? It's a little rough over here. Spring forward is the hard one because we lose an hour of sleep. It can also lead to more car crashes today because drivers are tired. We asked a sleep expert what we can do to help with the transition.
Get up and get natural sunlight in the morning and go to bed an hour earlier, even before. And you may naturally do that. If you're tired because of the time change, you might naturally just want to go to sleep earlier. Instead of 10 p.m., you might want to go to sleep 9 p.m. because you're just tired from your sleep homeostasis changing.
Dr. Turkanda also suggests avoiding alcohol and caffeine before bed and turning off the electronics. Now it's time for you to weigh in right now on the Denver 7 Facebook page. We're asking how the time change impacts you and how you and your family adjust. Michael says, I change my clocks and get on with my life. Shelly says she doesn't like the back and forth and there's really no need for daylight saving time. Becky says, this is the best day of the entire year. Sure, we're all tired and confused for a day or two, but in exchange, we get to leave behind the dark, depressing days of winter and get our lives back. That is a way to look at it, Becky. We want to hear from you. How are you adjusting to the time change? You can join the conversation right now on thedenverchannel.com. Katie, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking, Micah. Yesterday, waking up was a little tough with losing that hour of sleep, but hey, it was a beautiful Sunday and round out to our weekend. This morning, expect sunshine, 11 o'clock, 45 degrees, topping out in the low 50s. Now, we are tracking our next cold front this week. Some more snow in our Denver 7 forecast. I'll show you that coming up.
And Katie, I know you know this better than I do, but the early bird really gets the worm. Here is a look at traffic right now. We're starting to see more cars on the road. This is 25 right there by 20th. I have an update on all of your slowdowns that are starting to come and anything you might need to know for spring break, whether you're heading to DIA or the mountains. I'll let you know what it's looking like out there on the roads.
Thank you, Colette. We've heard from so many of you over the years about being taken for a ride by contractors. Well, now we have some advice from the Better Business Bureau so you don't lose money to a scam.
And nobody puts the GOAT in the corner. That's right, we're talking about Tom Brady returning to the football field after just 2 months of retirement.